in a field, in this field, 38 GT3 cars, to have had 8 of them, which is, you know, a fifth pretty much, 20% of the field, to have led the field, that's quite impressive.
Lead is up to 52 seconds.
Yeah, courtesy of a slow sector 3 for the chasing Maro Engel. He lost 3 seconds there alone on that lap, and the fastest sector 4 of the race for the 29 car.
And he actually
he's pushing.
lost. Yeah, and Engel actually lost 6 seconds on that lap.
Yeah, can't do that. He needs to be turning that round the other way. Mika Slur had the big accident in the leading BMW that he shared with John Edwards, Martin Tomczyk at et al. Really not his fault. Not really, I don't think, either. The BMW coupe that ran into him either.
2:57.14. Tomczyk time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's going to catch on, isn't it? I can tell. Perhaps the turning point of the race then, speeding in a slow zone, highly contentious, was looked at for an awfully long time by race control on the replays before a 1 minute and 30 second penalty was applied to that 88 car.
I also think the other seminal moment for that car was when they ran afoul of the Audi in traffic.
Yeah.
And ran him up the bum and had to have extra time in the pits.
Yeah.
To tape up the front and that sort of stuff. So 2 crucial mistakes, one under the caution, one in traffic, proved to be the undoing of the 88 car.
The final roll of the dice for the number 4 was Maro Engel being strapped in to replace Bernd Schneider. That was 27.5 minutes ago, 20 minutes after the final pit stop for the 29 car, which has held track position. It's the old adage of if you've got track position, hold on to it. They are doing that, and at the moment at least are managing the race from the best place in the house. That's right at the front. It's Jim Roller, me, John Hindorf, and Paul Trustwell going to the flag here. Coverage of the 44th ADAC Zurich 24 Hours of the Nürburgring is driven by Aston Martin. The 38 car has not yet made its last pit stop, Paul. It hasn't sneaked in while I wasn't watching. No, it hasn't.
No, not yet.
Should be in this time around, I think.
Yes.
It's done 57 minutes at the moment. It's got about another 2 minutes to go. That'll take it right up to the hour. No sense in risking an extra lap at this stage, and it all going horribly wrong. Thank you. I'm going to say this now because I'll forget. A couple of bits of housekeeping. We do have a post-race tech coming up after the checkered flag. We'll get some of the other voices back, so start thinking about that now, please. Your nominations for the I Respect Spirit of the Race Award. My goodness, where would you start there? Only 157 potential nominations, I would think, from the starters. The hashtag is SOTR, and fire those to @Radio Le Mans, please. Also use @Radio Le Mans for your questions to NBRPRT. Hashtag NBRPRT. And your questions, points of order, assumptions, things you've noticed, whatever points arising you have, and we'll rattle through them after the race for you in post-race tech, which comes up after the checkered flag. The checkered flag may be the end of the race for some, but is only the start, of course, of the discussion of a race that I feel may well live long in the memory. And Jim, you talked about a series of what-ifs for various people, and that, you know, that's always difficult in motor racing, but there will be an inordinate amount of people who go away from this with what-ifs.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, if-onlys.
the speed that the one car was showing a little while ago.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Audi are going to be hurting that they haven't been able to defend, and their best car at the moment in 8th position and 2 laps off the lead.
Not only were they not able to defend, but they weren't even able to play.
They didn't look like it, did they, at all?
It didn't look like it, exactly. But it only began not to look like it once the race started. You wouldn't have guessed it necessarily from the qualifying.
That's a very good point.
You know, we were saying in the car on the way to the races, whenever it was, that there wasn't a favourite manufacturer that seemed quicker than the others. But Mercedes just got all their ducks lined up. They got the cars performing well. They got the right tyres at the right times. They made good choices. The drivers made good choices, and the teams made good choices. What impressed me most of all, what is impressing me most of all, was the way that the HTP car suddenly kind of seemed to say, this is the race that we are going to win and this is how we're going to do it. They got themselves onto the same schedule as the Black Falcon cars, because they weren't ahead of the Black Falcon cars before. They got themselves onto the same schedule as the HTP, as the Black Falcon cars, and then they did that short stint which got them ahead because they did a short stint and therefore got a short pit stop, and then all of a sudden you thought, actually this car can do it because it had the flexibility that it needed.
Eric Rude has done a rudimentary, sorry for that, Eric, but I'm sure you've heard that one before, bit of calculation, and tweets. HTP, the leader, will finish its lap 9 with 3 minutes left if he continues this pace. At 8:20 last time around, remember, took 6 seconds out of the second place car. That would put 4 and 88 also across the line before the checkered flag on their lap 10, on the leader's lap 10, but that would only be 7th and 6th laps for the 7th lap rather for the 4 and 88.
Yeah, but remember, they don't have to complete the lap. Once the checkered flag falls, the race is over.
They have to complete
they have to,
if they've gone round before the checkered flag has gone out,
they have to see the checkered flag,
and they get past. Does it go back to the previous lap?
No, you have to see the checkered flag.
You have to see the checkered flag, okay.
Right. But it doesn't wait for the leader.
Right.
So if they go by before the checkered, if those leading trio go by before the checkered flag, and the leader runs out of fuel, and the other two have got more fuel in the tank, which they have,
then
if it goes to the 10th lap, it's panic stations for the 29.
Yeah, exactly.
10th lap for the 29.
Yes.
Right, it's panic stations for them because the other two have got fuel to make that lap, because that's not the 10th lap for them.
Right.
Remember,
Exactly.
It's only the
it'll be the 8th and 9th.
8th, I think, for both of them.
Yeah.
Is that right, Paul? Yes.
Yeah, 8th for both.
So we know
That's
they
right,
can do
because
that.
they pitted together.
Yeah. So no drama at all here, actually.
No.
Dear me. Right, an 8:20.147 laid down for the 29 again. Who did we put at the wheel of the 29, guys?
29 has stayed Christian
Hernadel. Right. Right. Oh, now, has he got the hurry up then? Because he stretched the lead to 55 seconds. Another 2 seconds, almost 3 seconds in the bank for the 29. Now, at some stage, he's going to have to be told to ease off. Otherwise, he is putting himself onto a pace that means he will have to do 10 laps to get into the checkered flag. And at the moment, he's ahead of that pace. Oh, dear. Maro Engel, 22.9, the 88 car, at 8:34. Well, frankly, that's not trying, is it? See him comes round this time. He had traffic, actually, in the middle sector, sector 2, that slowed him down a wee bit. Now, the battle of the Volkswagen Audi group brands, 6th and 8th at the moment for the 38 and the 2. The 38 has pitted at the end of its lap 127, at which time it had 2 minutes and 26 seconds on its nearest VAG group rival, the number 2 Audi. It's on its out lap now. I think it's been passed. So that is going to be a race. That is going to be a very interesting race as well. The 44 has stopped for its last stop as well that time around. In 9th position for the Imperatori, Martin Ranginger, Wolf Hensler and Peter Dumbreck, Falcon Porsche.
No, they stopped 49 minutes ago, John. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm looking at the ETA. You're absolutely right, Jim. Thank you very much indeed. It's that one that's just stopped, which is the 16 ahead of it. I was looking down the wrong column, or across the wrong line, should I say. So the 16 is on its outlap. That's the Bush brothers with René Rast and Christian Mamarov. They've made their last stop as well. But we'll give up 10th position, will they? No, they might not actually, because I don't think the 35's come through. No, it hasn't. So the Nissan hovering on the bubble of the top 10 ahead of the Valkenhorst 999 BMW, and the first of the Cup cars, the Porsche Cup cars, the SP7, 15th position, and I reckon we'll hold on to that should nothing go wrong. That car has been out there for 52 minutes. Well, may need a splash, but probably can go the 90 minutes since it last stopped to the checkered flag. They can't afford to get that wrong either, because they haven't got a huge amount in hand in the SP2 class, because the 56 car is also in the top 20. Paul?
That's all right. I'm just
You're beating on a drum here.
It's a long-tailed cat in a rocket chair factory is what he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, what's nice about this is this has involved the whole team. This has involved the guys on the pit wall making the decisions, but also, especially in this phase of the race, it's been taking the drivers and putting them on the in the hot seat and saying, look, you've got to do the job as well. You've got to deliver now. This is the time when we need the drivers that we've paid to come along and do their job, and they've got to do their job now as well.
Yeah.
Plus, overall, the 29 car has made 16 pit stops. The 4 cars made 17 pit stops.
Yeah.
So there's an extra pit stop in there for the 4 cars. So their on-track pace throughout the race had to be faster.
Indeed, yes. There was one pit stop which the number 4 made, which they didn't want to make, which Adam Christodoulou told us about when there was a vibration that developed, and they solved it by changing the wheels. They think it was just a bit of pickup that caused it, and a bit of rubber that they got offline got stuck to the tyre, and that was the extra pit stop. That's the reason why there's 17 there rather than 16.
Yeah.
It feels like we have 20 minutes of waiting for the other shoe to drop, because will it be fuel? Will it be somebody coming a cropper of traffic? Will it be, anything could happen in the last 20 minutes. People think I'm just trying to build false drama, but this really is waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Remind me when, keep telling me this, Paul, remind me when the 29 last stopped, on which lap?
The
23, wasn't it?
29 stopped on lap 124.
24, right. The start of 124, the end of 124.
The end of 124. So its first lap was 125.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So it's done 6 laps right now. It's completed 6 laps. It's on its 7th.
Correct.
Right. We know it can do one more after this, and he's due.
In the past, he's done 9.
Right. He's going to have to. I think he might have to do 9 again. And a 25.0 for the 999 Valkenhorst car is another quick lap for that car. It's quickest again. That's 2 quick laps it's done in the last 20 minutes or so. As it is just on the verges of the top 10 at 12. Clear track for the leader. That would be a great sight to see, wouldn't it? As you're coming round.
His last lap was less than 0.6 of a second off his best lap of the race.
He is absolutely
wringing its neck,
wringing that car. Exactly what I was going to say. And the gap has gone up by nearly 10 seconds in the last 3. So, albeit that's 75 kilometres. But in the last 75 kilometres, that the lead has gone up by pretty much 10 seconds.
You don't get the impression that the management and HTP want to go into the record books as being the closest ever finish, do you?
No. No.
Well, and it may be
unless he's building the lead now. But there's got to be somebody's got to have a watch on this, and they need HTP have got to have a Paul Trustwell back timing this, and at the point where he says, right, you've done enough, now hit your numbers, you've got to hope that the radio is able to be heard and the guy actually slows down, because he cannot afford to go into a 10th lap. I cannot believe they can get 10 laps. They've not done it all race.
I agree with you, John.
They may know something we don't, and the systems within the car may be telling them something else entirely. But do you trust the systems at this point, or do you trust the little notations that you've made in your notebook all the way through the race? I would say at this point it would be the latter for me. Threads the eye of the needle through the C230 and the brilliantly run Subaru, which, by the way, is still up in the top 20, just holding on to 20th position. The 106 car. That's the SP3T leader, isn't it? That's been great. Back out onto the Grand Prix circuit. The second place car is not gaining on this lap. Has lost at least another couple of seconds. Holds on in the first sector and the second, but 3 and 4 loses time. And there was traffic on the Dottinger Ho as well, which may have slowed Maro Engel in the white and blue Mercedes number 4. Paul has got the rules out.
No, just communicating with dailysportscar.com, and it was easier to point than
8, 7, 6. This is the due time. 5, 4, 3, 2. Spot on. That's for an 8:30. 27.6. So just a 2/10 of a second lost to the leader that time around. But again, I will say that is not quick enough. And a 22.6 for the 88 last time around. We'll see him in about 45 seconds across the line. He's got 52 seconds on 4th place. So the battle for the last step of the podium is almost exactly the same gap as between 1st and 2nd, Jim.
You can't make this stuff up. This is absolutely fantastic. And then further down, it looks like the 38 is only 10 seconds behind the 75 for 6th.
Yeah, and more importantly, is only a minute and 20 ahead of its Volkswagen Audi Group internecine battle with the number 2 Audi. That is for 6th. Check that, 7th and 8th position, Paul.
The 7th lap of the stint for Hohenadel then in the number 29 car, and he's just gone over the 1 hour of this stint.
So he's on his 8th lap now.
He's on his 8th. He's on his 7th lap now. This is the 7th lap of the stint.
Understood. Right, so 16 minutes left. He's going to finish his 7th lap with about 72 seconds on 4th place. So the battle for the last step of the podium is almost exactly the same gap as between 1st and 2nd, Jim.
You can't make this stuff up. This is absolutely fantastic. And then further down, it looks like the 38 is only 10 seconds behind the 75 for 6th.
Yeah, and more importantly, is only a minute and 20 ahead of its Volkswagen Audi Group internecine battle with the number 2 Audi. That is for 6th. Check that, 7th and 8th position, Paul.
The 7th lap of the stint for Hohenadel then in the number 29 car, and he's just gone over the 1 hour of this stint.
So he's on his 8th lap now.
He's on his 8th. He's on his 7th lap now. This is the 7th lap of the stint.
Understood. Right, so 16 minutes left. He's going to finish his 7th lap with about 7.5 minutes to go. So he will be on his 8th lap when the checkered flag comes out.
And then he'll go through, the checkered flag will be waving.
And it will be all over.
If they do it right. If they do it right.
HTP have got fuel out. HTP in the pit lane.
No splash and go, huh, Paul?
Ooh.
I'm saying nothing.
Paul is very seldom wrong.
Paul, I can't ever remember him being wrong.
Paul
but
is very seldom wrong, but what's the thinking at HTP? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Have they changed their mind, or have they now looked at their little book and went, oh, well, we might be a bit closer, we might have to do an extra lap?
Well, I mean, one option is that they've looked at their little book and said,
we've got enough time,
we might as well. And they can also just have a look at the car and check any radiators and just blow on it a little bit whilst the fuel is going in.
Correct.
Typical Olaf Manthey type of technique, actually.
Yes. If you've got the time, use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be that Christian Hohenadel, who has been at the wheel of that car since its last pit stop for over an hour. When did he get in that car, Paul? Because there's just something else I want you to check.
It's over 2 hours, but it's not 3 hours.
Okay, that's you read my mind there. Okay. Right. There's a small gathering of people here in the Aston Martin lounge who are watching timing and scoring, and this becomes a spectator sport right here. And I don't mean what's going on the track, but the three of us sitting trying to work it out with our very small brain power, apart from Paul. Right. The 29 car
crew chief.
Right. Pitted with 1 hour and 20 minutes to go. He reckons they can't go 1 hour 20 minutes. I don't think it was quite. Well, no, it was pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
they've been out They've been out. It's not when they come in, of course. It's when they go out. They've been out 1 hour 3.5 minutes, and there's 13.5 minutes to go in broad terms. So that's an hour and 16, an hour and 17 minutes they will have to run if they were spot on the checkered flag. Now, the good thing is that if the checkered flag comes out before they come around, that's great, they just finish. If the checkered flag comes out after they come around and they're on an extra lap, that's where the problem lies. Because then they don't have to go an hour and 17, they have to go an hour and 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have 20 minutes to finish the last lap. Once the checkered flag is waved, you have 20 minutes in which you can finish the last lap.
How much fuel do you think they have in that dump bottle?
Just enough.
Yeah.
Is the answer.
Is it a gallon? Is it? It looks like it's about half full, and it looks like it might be a
I would say
2
that's
or 3 gallon dump tank.
I would say that's probably 25 or 30 litres in that.
So that means nothing to me.
It means it's 20 quid's worth is what it means. That's oh dear. I have got the.
We're sitting here. We're both sitting here like we got to go to the bathroom.
I've got the Christian Horner foot going here.
Fidgety as poor Johnny was when you wouldn't let us stop on the motorway coming down.
No, absolutely.
That's what they've said to Hohenadel.
Push, push, push.
No, don't stop.
A minute and 20 now. A minute and 20 between the two Volkswagen Audi Group cars as they come around. I'm waiting to see. I think the two might have sneaked by, you know, on the pit stop. I think the 7th and 8th position has changed. Let's see them come around this time. I think that's turned around. And Bentley get the 7th position snatched from them on the pit stop rotation. Meantime, it's a relatively clear run for Christian Hohenadel at the head of the field. The gap sitting around 55 seconds. 3 seconds taken from Hohenadel in Sector 3 this time, and that is a slow Sector 3 for Hohenadel. Has the word gone out to their driver from HTP that he's done enough and now he can manage the gap? 11 minutes, 2 laps, he can lose 25 seconds a lap and still come home ahead.